Good day, students. My name is Bharat, and today I'll be taking you through onto convention industry. When we talk about convention industry, we are talking about the big functions. We're talking about meetings. We're talking about seminars. We're talking about a lot of people in one place at one point of time. And obviously, we're talking about tourism. We're talking about employment. We're talking about coordination. So today we're going to explore what this industry is all about, and we're going to explore what are different technicalities in this industry, some definitions. So let me take you through the learning objectives. The learning objectives over here are, first, to know in detail about business traveler. Now, what does business traveler do in these conventions? Well, that's what we have to find out. Next is define different types of conventions. So we need to actually go in more detail what these conventions are, what are different types, and what are the requirements. So we'll have those things in detail too. And lastly but not the least is understand what is meant by convention business, which means is what is involved in this business, which is convention. So with this convention buzzword, let's explore the first thing first, which is a business traveler. But before I go to the next slide, tell me, or maybe think about it, who is a traveler? A person who goes from point A to point B, or travels from point A to point B, right? And that's a traveler. Now, what we need to do is, we need to know who is a business traveler. Well, it's easy peasy, isn't it? Well, yes, a person who actually is involved into traveling due to business, isn't it? We'll have a bit of a definition. First, we'll have the definition from the dictionary, and then we'll go to the real definition, which is given by tourism organizations. So as it says, a travel refers to activity of the travelers. So as I was saying, for a business purpose, what are the activities? So for traveler, it could be anything. Someone who moves into different geographical locations. So when I say different geographical locations, that means if I'm traveling from my hometown to Delhi, it is a different geographical location. It doesn't mean that I'm going from Delhi from A point to B point. Well, I'm a traveler too, isn't it? So whenever you move geographical location, nowadays you got GPS, isn't it? It tells you, navigator tells you where this location is, how far, what not, right? When you move from point A to point B, very simple and easy, it's a traveler. Now, a visitor is a particular type of traveler. Well, you know, the best part of a tourism is when it generates some money for the host. Well, when you talk about money, that's where the tourism kicks in. A traveler goes from point A to point B, and that actually generates money. How come? Okay, I'm traveling by taxi, I'm traveling by bus, I'm traveling by train, I'm traveling by aeroplane. I'm paying them, right? I'm eating some food, isn't it? And if the distance is too long, I'm staying somewhere. I'm paying for accommodation. Well, in all those cases, what's happening? I'm actually generating some money for people who are providing me services. So this definition has been taken from UNWTO in terms of glossary of tourism terms. Let's move on further from here. So this clarifies a traveler, right? A travel and a traveler. So now when we know the traveler, who is a business traveler? Let's try to now guess. Well, I don't have to guess anything, isn't it? We know it very clearly who is a business traveler, the traveler who goes on from point A to point B, and the purpose is on to the business. So that's here the visitor. Now, a person who visits. Now, a business visitor, the main purpose is actually relating to business, and that's the category where we are focusing today. Those people or those visitors who are actually focused on business activities. Now, we need to know the purpose of those business activities. We need to know more about them. Let's decipher more and find out what are those categories and what are those people who actually travel due to these categories and these purposes. Okay, what are those activities that those people who are business travelers do? Well, attending a meeting or a convention. A big word is convention. So now we will actually decipher convention in the second part. Before that, we'll go for the meeting. What is a meeting? Nowadays you have Google Meet. We used to have Google Hangout first, right? What is Google Meet? Meeting 2, 3, 4, 10, 100, 200 people at one point of time, isn't it? So that's online now due to COVID, right? But before that, it was in physical. So when imagine the same 100, 200 people coming in one place at one point of time. So they will require physical infrastructure. They will require seating arrangement. They will require maybe a person who's arranging tour and travel. So all those things we're going to actually have in detail further. Other activities is participation in trade fair or exhibition. Now tell me who remembers a trade fair? All the boys and girls I know remember when there's a launch of a new car, isn't it? Or a new mobile phone for that matter. I'm sure today's world we have a new mobile phone. They actually bring those new mobile phones. Every company they bring it. And in tourism and hospitality there are a lot of trade fairs. Example, come on, think about it. I have one very good example from India, and that is about wines. Who knows what is Sula Wines? Sula Wines have a yearly festival. They bring there all the display of their wines, and that's with the pump and show and music and dance. Or it could be exhibition. Remember in your school days, you would have participated in a science exhibition where all the schools of the vicinity, of the area, of the state, or of the maybe constituency, they bring up their models and they exhibit their models. Now, what about business? Same thing applies to business too. Business negotiation. What is a business negotiation? Well, do you know in business what is it all about? It is all about finding the product, need in the market, creating the product and delivering the product. Now, you create a product. For tourism hospitality, it's a service. All right. So what we do is you actually see the need of the customer, you develop a travel package, and then you negotiate with your client. Okay, it will cost you 10,000 rupees for this whole package. And if that package is for maybe 100 people, so 100,000, which becomes I think 1,000,000 rupees, or which is rupees 10 lakh, I believe. Yeah. So imagine it's a lot of money involved, right? So you need to have a negotiation. If you even go down and up by 10 rupees into 100 people, so it's 10,100, which is how much? Is it 1,000? Yeah, it is 1,000. Yeah, sorry, my calculation goes a little bit different here because I'm used to more of millions and thousands, 100,000s. Okay, now also when you have market research or promotion campaign, so what is a market research? You really want to know what people think about your product or service. You give them a demonstration. You want to fill up their responses, or you actually have a product. Let's take an example. Let's take an example of Sula Wines. We'll take it. When Sula Wines want to promote some new wine, or they want to promote their sales, or they promote one of their wines which was not doing so good, maybe they change the label, maybe they change the size or the pricing, and that's how they actually bring a campaign up. And when they do the campaign, they actually need a place to do that. So in saying so, that's again the activities, this kind of activities are done by business travelers. So by now we know they either go having a meeting, convention, fair, negotiation, and this is not all, it says etc. right? Now To do all those things, obviously they need to do, they needs few things, such as, if I have to travel to attend a meeting somewhere, I need a reservation. Well, reservation is fine. Why instant? Instant means at times the notice is not long enough. Let's say you're preparing for going for holidays. So you know when your school holidays are, right? As a teacher, I know when my school holidays are. I can see the holidays in June next year. I can plan from now. But in a business situation, it's not the same. Sometimes, due to constant pressure of work, breakdowns, emergencies, they may have to move immediately, right? So that's where they need reservations which are immediate and instant. Now, they may also need someone to help them. Let's say if an organization is planning, let's say Sula Wines for that example, we'll today take example of Sula Wines. If Sula Wines, which is in Maharashtra, if they want to do some, let's say a small expo here in Delhi, they will need someone to assist them, isn't it? So they will need secretarial services. They will need a business center, computers, fax, internets. Why? Because they will actually have a presentation to be delivered. They will have music. They will have latest information. They may be doing live. They may be showing their vineyards live, isn't it? They will need computer. They will need internet. They will need music, sounds, all those things to actually interact with their customers. So for that, they need to have a business center, right? Now, well, we're having a big meeting, we're having an expo, we do need computers. These are the small things, isn't it? Now, how do you come from Sula Wines to Delhi? Come and think about it. Well, Sula Wines they can afford to have their own private chopper. Well, may not be. What about they have to bring in their 50 staff? Not worth idea having a private chopper, maybe having an airline ticket, right? Or going by trains, planes, whatever works for them. So these are local transportation, because they may come to airport, from airport to going to a particular area where they're having their own hotel accommodation, where they're going to have their conference. So that means they also need a conference hall, isn't it? And that also brings to the point that if they are in a conference hall, they have reached there for the conference, they do need technical support too. Technical support as simple as having this to project the slides, having audio and video, audio visuals, having lights, sounds, engineering, technical stage, so many things. Maybe artists, maybe musicians, whatever they want to do in terms of their trade fair or promotions. So what means over here is that they are having such needs which are specifically for them. Moving on. So now we're talking about what are the characteristics of these business travelers. What do they do? Okay. Now what are the specific things that they require, and how do we differentiate them, right? So the characteristics, such as most of these activities for the business travelers, they are city oriented, or if I may say, they are more towards business hubs or even industrial estates. Why would they have that? Why can't they go alongside the beach and have some good time there? Well, they can do business from there, isn't it? Well, the point is, these travelers are mostly here to promote the businesses, right? And it may so happen that the business area is not within the main capital cities. It may be away from cities, right? So they may have to go there. Maybe they have a lot of their population there. That means the people, workers are there in the factory area. So it may be there. It may be near airports, right? So it may be near industrial estates. Now, the another part characteristic that we really need to consider for business traveler is they don't really depend, or they don't really wait for off and peak season, because like me, I will book my ticket when it's off peak, right? And the cheapest ticket, best price, that's what I'll do. Do you think that thing can work for business? No, that cannot work for business, because obviously, I mean, they have the yearly timings, they have meetings, they have, if there's a business deal, will they say, no, I don't want to do the business deal because the travel is too expensive? No, that's not the case, isn't it? So, these are non-seasonal travel. And it could be for a few days, maybe for a few hours. If you are, going to a restaurant every day, what happens? You know the food, you know what the restaurant looks like, you know how the waiters behave, you know the attire, you know where's where, and then maybe you become more experienced traveler. So with that, the experienced traveler are more demanding, so they know what it is, they know the standard and quality, and that's something which is another characteristics of the business traveler. Moving further from here, they may look for early morning flights or maybe late evening flights. Why? Because 9 to 5 usually is a business time when they're working, and then while they finish their work, they want to travel. Let's move on further from here, some more characteristics, but more than that, let's look at the advantages. What does business tourism do? Tourism, which is based on the business travelers, which is based on their activities, which is based on their characteristics. So, good part is that they give us business all the year round. So, hotels, accommodation services, food and beverage restaurants and whatnot, tour operators, travel agencies, they get the business all the year, right? Now, in saying so, it could be that I know that I'm actually going to have a meeting on Friday and my next job is on Monday. In between, I have Saturday and Sunday. And I'm going from Delhi to Goa, and I have a meeting in Goa on Friday. Why can't I spend my Friday afternoon, Saturday whole day, and Sunday afternoon over there? Isn't it? I can fly back Sunday afternoon. So I get 2 extra days to relax and enjoy there, isn't it? Or it could be that organization says, hey, you have come over here to Goa. Why don't you have 2 extra days in Goa? So, that's a time when the organization can look off-peak season. Imagine sending 1,000 employees to Goa in the peak season, and off-peak season will save a lot of money for the hotel and for the flight, isn't it? Now, with this, what is happening? Actually, the business travelers are expensive travelers. They give us more money. If you look at the accommodation size, hotel, transportation, airlines, so they are high yielding. That means they're giving us more money for us to run the business and run the show for the tourism and hospitality industry, right? So it's a big advantage, isn't it? Now, another advantage is, now let's say, as I was saying, giving example of 1,000 employees going to Goa. When it goes, 1,000 employee goes to Goa, imagine what happens to the destination. Obviously, there could be many leisure activities. All right. Now, leisure activities include going out for sightseeing, maybe going on the beach, maybe using water sports, taking a car, going out and enjoying the road trip, or dining out. All those things that they included, right? So that means Goa gets more money other than just a business in the hotel. Well, there could be meetings, conferences, conventions. So all those activities, they bring people to Goa, right? When people come from place A to place B, they need to stay somewhere, they need to eat somewhere, they need to interact, they may go to buy some souvenirs. So in that, we are actually increasing business for the destination, right? Now, let's take a small example of a small city, Let's take a city of Ludhiana in Punjab, right? Now, that is a lot of industrial area, isn't it? Now, imagine if people start coming and doing meetings over there, and thousands of people coming to that place, they will need accommodation services. They will need more roadways, railways, transportation, food and beverage and whatnot. So that will actually improve the infrastructure, isn't it? Now, let's go to convention industry. Convention? I think I did discuss about that. So it's actually, as per the Cambridge Dictionary, it's a formal meeting of people who do a particular job. So in our case, it's a business people who have similar interests, and obviously it could be for political party too. Well, we do a lot of rallies in the political parties, isn't it? Huge infrastructures involved. So again, so what is a convention? For us, we actually look at the big place where we have people coming to one place at one time and having a lot of requirements at one point of time. Could be for a day or a week. Now let's come to the meetings. So meetings usually could be bigger or smaller, but conventions are bigger than meetings, bigger crowd, larger crowd. So usually we have a convention center to doing that. As the example being given as annual general meeting for an organization, let's say Reliance. When they bring all the stakeholders, that means investor, they're using their shareholders. If they have annual general meeting for them, imagine thousands and thousands of people, right? Now exhibitions. So we have art galleries, we have exhibitions done for the schools, college, universities, we have exhibitions done for the art, we have exhibitions done for a specific audience. Now, even the trade fairs, I was asking you about the mobile phone, the car. So these are the bigger, you can say, setup where we require all those characteristics of business travels, and that brings money to the host organization or the destination. Now, let's move on further into what is the relationship of a business traveler to convention industry. So, who brings convention? Obviously, it is actually a business traveler, right? Who brings in convention, right? So, when we are, let's say, so in the industry, what does industry give? So, we talked about the traveler. Let's talk about the industry. So, what does industry provide? They gave us venue, that means the place where the convention is going to happen, right? We're going to have food and beverage, isn't it? So obviously, if I'm going to stay the whole day, I need to eat something, I need to drink something, right? And what if I'm going from here to Goa? And if I'm going to Goa from morning to evening and I have to stay there, I need accommodation. It can be optional. I need people who actually work over there. I need technicians, I need technology support services, all those things. But when all those things are involved, what's happening? That's bringing in money to the destination, isn't it? Now, also, the business travelers, they need some facilities, such as hotels, transportation from even airport to the destination. And as I was talking to you about business center earlier, well, we do need that, isn't it? And obviously, conventions itself. So, business travelers actually need those activities so that they can do their business. But when they do their business, we are the one, hospitality industry, we are the one to actually give them a service for that, and we earn money from there. So obviously it's hand in hand. Business travelers need convention centers, or the convention industry need business travelers, isn't it? What do they give us? To the locals, they give employment. They give business transaction, money is coming to the local destination, multiply effect. And there are local services, like even police is involved, even maybe sometimes even if there is a big, you can say management of the fire brigade will be required, just in case of emergency, ambulance will be required, just to be standby in case of any medical emergency, all right? So we do need the ancillary services when we are working in as a relationship between the business traveler and convention. Now let's go back and think, what did we cover? Now, do we know what is a business traveler? A traveler who travels from point A to point B for the business purposes, right? And when we come to conventions, what did we talk about? We spoke about meetings. We talked about seminars. Seminars are not that big. We talk about convention itself, huge. We talk about fairs, exhibitions, and trade fairs. So these are the few of the definitions in terms of conventions. But they're not just the one. There are more that you can discuss and find out in your books. And what is meant by convention business? So if I have to collate and if I have to summarize, what do you think would that be? Well, I'll do it for you today. So convention business actually means a business that involves business travelers, that involves accumulation of large number of people at one place and one time, within it could be an open air, it could be within a convention center, okay, it could be within hotels, and mostly we'll come and discuss further details about how these huge mega structures are made either by private organizations or maybe a bigger organization along with the partnership with the government. That's the next step we're going to do. But so far with this, we conclude that business travelers and convention center, they need each other hand in hand to make a success. All right, with this, I'd like to thank you for attending this session, and I'll see you in the next session. Have a good day.